Hi folks, Paul here. Gonna have a cigar today. Thought I'd shoot a little video. But before I select the cigar, I wanted to get some coffee ready. While I was in Vietnam a few months ago, I was able to go to La Casa del Habano, and they had this exact Vietnamese style drip coffee. And I was really fortunate to find it online for like $50, so I bought it. And I haven't been able to find another one. The next cheapest one I could find is $100, and somebody wants $500 for it. So I feel real lucky that I got it for $50, although I know I can get it much cheaper probably in Vietnam. But I'm not in Vietnam. So I've got a little bit of Vietnamese coffee here. Kind of a darker blend. It's got a little bit of a chocolate flavor to it. So I usually just put 1 spoon in there. Close that up. And then put this in. I kind of move it around a little bit. I don't pack it, but I just kind of level it out. And get some hot water. And I'll pour it over the top. And I fill it up pretty full because it doesn't quite fill the cup. So I'll do that. Hey doggy, are you watching? And I'll let that sit and run down for a while. Then usually what I do, because since it doesn't fill up the cup all the way, is I'll let it sieve all the way down, and then I'll put just a little bit more in the top there and let that go through as well, and then that fills up the cup. And while I was there, they served it with sweetened condensed milk, which I'd never done before, and so now I'm kind of addicted. So I have a little mix here, some sweetened condensed milk and regular milk, and I'm on a new diet where I'm not drinking sugar, having sugar, but this is the sugar that I've been having lately. But when that's gone, I'm not going to do it anymore. But in the meantime, I've been enjoying it. So for today's cigar, I'll pull off my humidor here. It's a beautiful humidor I got. I'll put the details of that in another video, but let's see how we're doing. I don't know if I can read it. It's where I like to have it, maybe a little higher humidity, but it's not bad. I did stock up on some of these Warzones, and I'll look up some information on those and share that with you. I got them for a good deal, and so do one of those. And of course, I have to have at least one Romeo and Juliet in there, since it's a Romeo and Juliet humidor. In the bottom, sold quite a few cigars. I've been really enjoying these Punch Diablos. I'll do another video on that another time. And so I did purchase a box of those recently. I call them boleta style because they kind of remind me of a boleta mushroom, but I'm not sure. Some kind of figurado. And then let that percolate down. The cigar. Oh, while I was in Vietnam, we were passing through Japan. This is one of my, well, it's probably the only Japanese whiskey I've had, but it was given to me as a gift a while ago, and I really enjoyed it, so I found it in the duty free, and they're only like $25, so I think that's what I'll pair it with after I have my coffee here. Yeah, it's only about $3.45 right now, so that's about the latest I'll have coffee with caffeine in it. I try to avoid it when I can. But so this is going to be my setup. Little tripod setup. This is usually where I sit when the weather's decent. It is the what is the 23rd November, so kind of the end of our fall season here. I don't really have any wood right now, otherwise I'd sit around the fire, so the wind isn't too bad. But today I'll just sit on the patio here, and dogs will keep me company. I'll set up a little bed for them over here, and they'll chill out and enjoy. We'll just enjoy this fall weather. It's almost 60 degrees. I think it's like 58, 59 degrees, which is really surprising for this time of year. So I'll get this all set up and lit up and check back in. Thanks. All right, I'm back, and that's the view I've got. And if you've seen my koi videos, you know that's the pool that's got all the liner ripped out and everything. It needs totally repaired, new pool crate and everything. In the meantime, the deep end holds water, so I've got a bunch of goldfish, a couple hundred goldfish, and I put 3 koi in there. Transferred them from the little pond for the winter. But yeah, check out those videos for more information on those. And let's see, flip it back here, maybe. Okay. So here's my setup. Most people, let me put this on. Yep. I think most people don't have a luxury of smoking in the house. And it's warm enough, so I'm smoking outside today. I am kind of spoiled that I do have a pool house that I've converted to like a cigar lounge. I put a inexpensive air purifier in there, and that's where I like to enjoy cigars in the winter when it starts getting too cold. However, as expensive as heating costs are now, I try to use it sparingly. But anyway, this is how you can see this my setup here. I've got my Vietnamese coffee all set up. I've got the Suntory old whiskey and my Warzone cigar. I'll get that cut and going. And then I've got this tool as well. This is pretty cool. Sorry about that. I picked this at La Casa del Habano, and they hand these out to just use while you're there, along with a really nice table lighter. But it's pretty cool. It's got you twist it, and it's got a punch in one end, and that gauge, and then it's got a smaller ring gauge punch on the other side. And when you unscrew it, you got a drop poker in that end. And then, fortunately, I don't have to use that very often, but this is what I use every single cigar. And this got 2 little prongs on it, and that's so I can hold the end of the cigar because I smoke it down to where it's too hot. Um, if it's definitely a cigar I'm enjoying, I will smoke it down as much as I can. Try to get my money's worth, and as long as it still tastes good. So, I was gonna give you a few notes on the Warzone. I tend to read the reviews on Cigars International on their website, the descriptions. I also like to watch Holt's videos and read their descriptions. So unfortunately, I'm using my phone to film, so I don't have the descriptions readily available. But what I do know is Mr. Espinosa is part of this project with the Warzone. To me, it's pretty full-bodied, say medium to full on the fuller side, peppery. But my palate is just not what I think some other folks are. And I think what happened is I kind of damaged my sense of smell when I was a kid, when I was in the Marine Corps. I was doing some training, and one of those smoke bombs that they throw at us during training, they threw it into my fighting hole, and I didn't get my gas mask on quick enough, and I ended up inhaling quite a bit. And ever since then, I've haven't had the sense of smell I think I used to. But so I do pick up some notes, but uh, I'm always learning, and sometimes I don't quite taste what other folks taste. But I think everybody's kind of got their own taste as well. But I'll get into that and kind of share what I notice. So let me see what I did with my cutter. There it is. I have probably a dozen or more cutters. All of them are, or most of them are guillotine cutters. Some of them are really nice. I've got a really nice one from Perdomo. It's all steel. But I end up using the cheap ones the most, and I like larger engaged cigars. So I just carry one of these all the time, and that's what I use. Although I've been smoking more of the pyramids and toros, and I've always just snipped them with the guillotine. But I know some folks are using a V cut on them to try to preserve that shape a little bit. So I don't know what happened to my V cutters. I used to have a bunch of those as well, but can't seem to find any of them anymore. So I must have given them all away. Anyway, so I gotta go get another V cutter. But go and get this snipped. Now I've heard I usually lick the end or wet the end of the cigar because the one of the places I get my cigars from, they're not really in the cigar business. They just happen to have a humidor, and I just don't keep the humidity right. So a lot of the cigars I get from there end up being on the dry side. So I got in the habit of wetting the tip before I cut it. But then I was watching, I think it was a Holtz video recently, where they were talking about, gumming up the lighter and keeping it nice, maintained. And one of the things that I think it was Matt's that said it is, don't wet the end of it because that gums up your cutter faster. So I've been trying not to do that as much. Um, and so far it's been okay. Every once in a while I accidentally do it out of habit. But so got it snipped. And then there's a torch lighter from a company called Nebo. However, I suspect that it's probably made in China or something, and they just put different people's brands on it. Because I've seen several of these styles with the punch cutter in the bottom, with all different names, but they're all the exact same lighter. And I used to own a cigar store many years ago, and I had a heck of a time with the high end lighters. You just spend all that money, and then the quality was just crap. So I really shy away from them. They probably are better now, but I still tend to go to the cheaper lighters, especially since I tend to lose them. But for some reason, I've been able to hang on to this one. It used to be blue, but its paint's all worn off. But I have had this thing for over 20 years now, and it's been a workhorse. I've even bought some of the exact same kind, and I use them for parts if needed. But I haven't needed to yet. I've just got a couple of them for parts, but one of them I tried to use and it quit working right away. But I got really good luck with this one. The cost of these was like $5, so I was retailing them for like $20 because they were just really good lighters for the most part. But if anything ever went wrong, because it wasn't that expensive a lighter and it wasn't a hassle, and they're all pretty much um, the same lighters. They're not special like some of the higher end ones, but I would just swap it out and just give them a new one. And I think I only had to do that once. I probably sold about 100 of these, and I only had to swap one out once. And when I told the sales rep, he just gave me another one, and I made sure it worked, and we're off and running again. So yeah, it's now that I say all that, watch it'll quit working. But it's a triple flame, so it does use a lot of fuel. So I do have always a backup lighter. And I honestly prefer the single flames, but since I more commonly smoke bigger ring gauges, the 54s, 56, 60s. Occasionally I'll have a 70, like a Lagoria Cubana, I think number 7, which I need to get. I haven't had that one in many years, and I really like that one. The other one is I think it's a CAO camshaft, but it's like I'm not sure if that's just flathead or camshaft, I forget, but it's a 7x70, and that's probably the biggest one I would go with because that's definitely a long smoke. But triple flame is good for those. But since I'm experimenting a lot more with other cigars again, different vitolas, I like to have a single flame around too, if not matches. So anyway, let me get this fired up. So I'm just kind of toasting the end as best as I can without scorching the sides. Not easy to do with a torch like this, but do the best I can. Try to get it going there without burning it. Now I don't need to sit and teach everybody how to smoke a cigar, but plenty of videos out there for that. And on that note, that's kind of this channel. Eventually I'll get around to doing like an intro. But I just wanted to start filming, smoking different cigars, and we got a few friends that are curious what I'm smoking, and um, so that way I can share what I've been smoking lately and what I think of it, and then they can watch the videos and we can compare notes. There's definitely plenty of cigar videos out there, some fantastic cigars or cigar videos out there. Um, so I'll probably just, I don't even know where I'm gonna go with it. Probably tell you about what I'm smoking and what I think of it. I won't run the video the whole time I'm smoking a cigar, but I'll try to learn how to edit videos, string them together, and maybe do them in thirds or something like I see a lot of folks do. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Good. I like that. So my experience with the cigars is when you first light it, it's got a little different flavor than once you kind of get into it about half an inch, and then the profile seems to change a little bit. But so I try not to judge a cigar based on that first one. But if you get a bad one and it's rough on the get go, kind of sours your mood, and you really hope that it evens out. Really nice. So I've seen people talk about doing a retrohale, bringing it in, blowing it out through your nose, and I guess I try that, but not very successful with it. And I think I get what I need. I kind of do something similar where I bring it in and I kind of start to put it through my nose, but it's more of kind of the roof of my mouth and the back of my throat that I'm just trying to move the smoke around a little bit. And it definitely has a different flavor. So, know some folks probably don't want to retrohale very often in a cigar, but that process that I go through of kind of bringing it in through the top of my mouth and everything, I do that quite frequently because if I just puff on the cigar, I don't get the same flavor. So I don't know. To me, it's kind of early, but um, I can tell you what it doesn't have is I do smoke a lot of cigars that kind of have that cedary flavor to it. I call it cedar. Um, but I think it's more of just like a wood, and I don't know what kind of wood, but kind of a woody. There's definitely some spice to it. I can feel that on the top of my mouth. Um, that's pretty common with a lot of cigars I smoke. Usually settles down a little bit. Um, some of these other flavors people talk about, like I don't know, like leather, nutmeg, dried raisins, or I guess all raisins are dried, but raisins, I have a hard time picking those out. But occasionally, if I read the description and then I'm smoking the cigar, then I'll go, okay, yeah, I can see that. So it's I don't think it's always necessarily that specific flavor, but it's kind of like the sensation of that flavor. That's what I read into it anyway. I like these. So I'd smoked a couple of these, and I enjoyed them. This was just, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and so I did a little research on them. I saw that Mr. Espinosa was involved, and I hear good things about his blends. So I saw that they had a whole box there, and I don't know how common these are, the Warzone. So the price is right, so I went ahead and just bought a box of them, and which I don't do very often. You know, one between budget constraints and two, a lot of times I'd rather use that money to buy a more or a larger variety of cigars. But I went ahead and bought the box on that one. Same thing happened with the Punch Diablos. I really liked that. I was like, I could smoke a box of those easy. So I got an opportunity to pick up a box of those for a pretty good deal too. So I'll keep working on this. Oh, one thing I was gonna say is, I've got my coffee ready here and getting cold, but um, I just personally, I don't do my drinks right away. I like to kind of get into the cigar a little bit and just enjoy that flavor, and then I'll start sipping on the coffee or something like that, and just kind of see how it plays around with it. If I'm even paying attention, I just like coffee, so um, just started drinking liquor again. Um, it's another story for another time, but I hadn't had any liquor for, well, actually this week it'll be a year. Because I ended up in the hospital. I'll tell a full story later, but basically I was in the hospital and the medication they put me on. I didn't really like the idea of mixing liquor with it. Not that I drink a lot, but I was just trying to learn more and more about bourbons and dabble into scotch a little bit and try to learn how to recognize different kinds. And I'm definitely a novice, and but it's something I enjoy with cigars. I like doing that. So usually I think it started during COVID when I started drinking, um, whiskey neat. Basically, I used to just drink Jack and Coke all the time, which I'm not knocking it. It's good, but I guess with the time I had during COVID, and ability to smoke cigars outside a lot more since I started working from home, I started uh, trying to learn more about whiskeys and liquor in general. So usually I measure it by fingers because that's how I was taught, but maybe one or two fingers because I really only just sip on it. I've never been a big beer drinker or a drinker for that fact at all, except for, of course, in the military. I think it almost feels like a prerequisite that you have to drink beer every weekend. So, other than that, and a little bit in college, I just really never got into liquor much, and so it's been neat. It's been interesting, starting to like cigars, figure out the different nuances and tastes, and what I like, what I don't like, and when this uh, type of whiskey was first gifted to me from a friend of mine that was coming from Japan. I really liked it. So as soon as I saw a bottle again, I picked it up, and so I think this is the second bottle I've had. I had another friend from Japan that just got back, and he picked up a couple more for me. And I mean, at $25 a bottle from Suntory, it's fantastic. I really enjoy it. That's a price I can agree with. Um, because I tried to find these online, just I was curious, and I think the cheapest I found was like $150, $120 or something like that, all the way up 200, 500 or more, and that's insane. Just pick it up the duty free for $25. But if I don't have it, I don't have it. But since I got a couple more bottles coming, pretty much have a lifetime supply now. Like I said, I don't drink a lot, and I do like to get a variety, so I'll just sip on those, and I'm sure it'll last a while. And I do travel to Japan now and then for work, so I'll make that a kind of a habit to pick up some Japanese whiskeys from duty free while I'm there. If the price is right. So Wow. I don't know if other people would get it, but that puff was it. I did taste like what I would consider kind of that fruity taste. Not like the citric fruits or citrus fruits, but more like the apples, pears, those kind of things. It's nice. The peppers already settled down. So I really like that these were complex. There's a lot of different flavors in there that I can pick up on. Some cigars, especially when you're trying to find inexpensive cigars, they can be very linear to me anyway. But yeah, nice burn. It's well, not quite perfectly even, but the ash looks nice. A little uneven right there, but I don't sweat that too much. So got my smoking hoodie on, my smoking sweats. I excuse me. Um, I'm not a big fan of my clothes smelling like cigars, so I tend to wear the same things. I don't know if I'll have any videos where I dress up because I do like to dress up in suit and tie and stuff, but there's not too much call for that anymore. But it is nice to do once in a while, so I might shoot some videos when I film indoors, dress up a little nicer. But I have a feeling this is what most people do. They sit on their porch when it's decent out and probably in sweats, t-shirts, whatever, and just enjoying cigars because that's what it's all about. But anyway, I think I'm going to start on the coffee there since it's starting to get cold, and I'll smoke this down a little more and check back in, let you know how's it going. Thanks. Hi, folks, I'm back. I'm into the second, third, I guess they'd call it, and just really enjoying these. I'm glad I got the box. Um, Flavor wise, taste, texture, I guess. I'm so bad at this, but been fairly consistent. However, I don't get that fruity flavor like I had before. Um, but I think if when somebody says leathery, I don't necessarily think of the smell of leather. I think of the taste of leather. I know that sounds funny, but when I was a little kid, I think I was like 4 years old. I remember my mom had a leather attachment to her keychain, and for some reason, I always liked to chew on that leather. And I guess at least she always knew where her keys were. But so kind of that, I guess it'd be kind of that smell of leather, but the taste of leather is kind of, if the way I remember, it's kind of a sour taste, but really, really subtle. And so that's kind of what I would get in combination with that, what I call wood kind of flavor. Um, I think if I remember right, these are the spice basically is there throughout, but it's not overpowering to me. There's the initial fire up, which I think with a lot of cigars is spicier, but that mellows out. Um, like I said, it doesn't have the cedar like I would normally get with typically like Dominicans, I think, like the Fuentes or Romeo and Julieta. I think that's Dominican as well. I have to look it up. Those I get more cedar notes. But anyway, it's burning real nice. Uh, I touched it up a little bit a while ago, and ever since then, it's been burning real nice and even, nice ash. Um, I think the ash got about an inch and a half long before I just went ahead and uh, disposed of it because I didn't really want it falling on me. Although this hoodie is my smoking hoodie, which has got plenty of holes in it. But anyway, I figured it'd be a good time to I move the camera a little bit. So I'm going to take that ash off, that rest for a minute, and I'm going to open this bottle of Centauri whiskey. Um, I guess it's called Centauri Old Whiskey. See that, read it or not. Um, if I remember right, it's a blend of different whiskeys. I'd have to do a little more research on it, but I really enjoy this, especially being a novice when it comes to whiskey tasting. I find it very approachable. So it's just got screw cap. Oh yeah. And I'll get a little bit here so I don't do very much. Just enough to kind of sip on. I'm not going to tell you what it smells like. I don't know how to do that. I just like the smell. It smells like whiskey. I think it's very sweet to me. Very smooth. Really like that flavor. That's nice. I like that a lot. I'll set that aside. See how it goes with this cigar. It works for me. That's nice. Nice combo. So, you see, I got my hat on. That time of year, as soon as the sun goes down, it starts getting cool. It would have been a perfect night for a fire. There's no wind at all. Uh, got tired of buying firewood at the local stores, as that gets expensive, and a lot of times it just sits in a pallet out in the rain, so it's damp as well. So I called a guy, or I found a guy on Facebook. It's not too far away, and he, I figured I'd buy a rick of it and stack it up next to the garage there, and that would probably last me quite a while. And he said since I'm just burning wood for a fire pit, that he'd give me a bunch of ends and scraps and everything else he's got that's not sellable in the standard sense. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I think it's gonna be, I think it was like $65, all split, all hardwoods. It has quite a variety of different wood, but that'll last me a long time, I think. I've been getting by lately. I live on a street that has tons of trees, and every time we get wind, there's branches everywhere. And a couple times there's trees that are blown down that were dead, and when they came to cut them up and dispose of them, then I'd ask for a few of the logs, and then would split them up when I could. But I think I'm down to the few pieces that uh, just so many knots in it and everything else that it's a heck of a workout for me trying to split them. I don't have a log splitter, so I'm just gonna buy some split wood. If you're $60, $80, whatever it is worth it. I don't even have to mess with it. Then I'll just pick it up and stack it. I'll be good for a while. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know what it is about the fall, but it's one of my favorite times to have cigars. When the cicadas are finally gone. Yeah, Mosquitoes are gone. Not as humid. Uh, the problem is you have the cooler temperatures, but it's pretty quiet. Not a lot of birds either. What I do get is one of the neighbors rental leaf blowers, and which is normal. And then not tonight, but a lot of times this time of year, you smell burning leaves because around here we can't throw our leaves away. You have to pay somebody to come haul them away, so a lot of people just burn them. I do kind of a mix of both. I have a crew that comes out and mows it and gathers up a lot of the leaves, but then of course more fall. And so I just have it done once, and the rest of the leaves I just burn in a burn barrel and use one of those mulcher things. And kind of a pain in the butt. You can't throw that away. Other places I've lived, you rake up your leaves, you put it in a trash bag, and they just haul it away. Um, but here we got to burn it. So that's the way it is. So like I said, you pretty frequently, especially on a calm night like tonight, I'm really surprised there's not more people burning leaves. So I don't mind it so bad. I don't mind the smell too much. And usually by the time it gets here, it's not real smoky. So yeah, that's that. Yep, I was talking too much and it went out on me. But to do it. Nice. So glad I picked up a bottle of that. I don't think it's necessarily a high proof or anything, so it's not burning. Can't even read it. I like it. I drank my coffee pretty quick because it get cooled off fast. Move the camera a little bit so you can see that. Doggies are settled down on their blanket. I think the other one's under my chair, and then there's one in the house because he's not a big fan of the cold. Oops. Get this readjusted here. About that. That'll work. Ooh, a little too much through my nose that time. Yep. Yeah, I recommend watching some of the better videos on the Warzone. You see their highlights and their tasting notes, and I recommend it. I was gonna say before I said that these were medium to full, more on the full side, but um, I think I changed my mind on that. I think that's more of the medium. Definitely not a mild smoke to me, but I'd say it falls in that medium category. So I think for a new smoker, it's probably a little much, um, especially with the pepper, the spiciness that it has. But for folks that smoke cigars fairly regularly, I think they'd really like it. So I'm going to keep smoking it down, and I'll probably check in as I get down to the last third there. It won't be too long. And probably turn the porch light on because it's starting to get dark. We'll see you in a bit.